Everything you know about history relies on one simple rule. People come from somewhere, but in the summer of 1150, in a small English village called Woolpit, that rule simply stopped working. Farmers were harvesting wheat when they found two children huddling in a wolf pit. They weren't just lost, they weren't just scared. Their skin was the color of a bruised emerald. They spoke a language that didn't exist on any map, and they refused to eat until they found a specific type of bean that they treated like life-saving medicine. If this were a fairy tale, it would end with a lesson. But the official chronicles of Abbot Ralph of Coggeshall and William of Newburgh actually recorded this as a real event, and the explanation the surviving girl eventually gave. It's far more terrifying than aliens or fairies. Stay with me, because by the end of this, you're going to realize that the ground beneath your feet might not be as solid as you think. Imagine you're a medieval peasant. You've never traveled more than 10 miles from your home. Suddenly, these two, a boy and a girl, appear. They're wearing clothes made of a strange, unknown fabric. They are crying. You take them to the local landowner, Sir Richard de Colin. For days, they wouldn't touch bread, meat, or water. They were literally starving to death in a house full of food. It wasn't until they saw raw broad beans that they flipped. They tore the pods open, found nothing inside the stalks, and began to sob again. When someone showed them the beans inside the pods, they ate like they had never tasted food before. Why broad beans? In medieval folklore, beans were the food of the dead. Was this a coincidence? Or was their biology tuned to something we don't understand? As the months passed, the boy grew sickly and eventually passed away. But the girl, she survived. And as she ate our food, a transformation began. The green tint in her skin started to fade. She learned English, and that's when the village elders finally asked the question, "Where did you come from?" She didn't describe a distant country. She described St. Martin's Land. She said it was a place where the sun never rose, a world of perpetual twilight where everyone was green. When asked how they got to Woolpit, she said they were herding their father's cattle when they heard a loud noise like the ringing of bells, and suddenly, they were in the wolf pit, blinded by her sun. Was this a parallel dimension, a subterranean civilization, or something even more tragic? Skeptics today point to something called chlorosis, the green sickness. It is a form of anemia caused by extreme malnutrition that can literally turn skin a greenish hue. They suggest that children were orphans of Flemish immigrants who were being persecuted, hiding in the woods, starving. The Twilight Land was just a memory of the dark, thick forests where they hid. But that doesn't explain the language. It doesn't explain the loud bells. And it doesn't explain why the girl lived out the rest of her life in the town of King S. Lynn, described by locals as rather wanton and impudent, never truly fitting into our world. This story is the first recorded instance of what we now call the extraterrestrial hypothesis, the idea that beings from another world could walk among us, but whether they were from space or just victims of a dark chapter of human history. The green children remind us that the unknown is often standing right in front of us, just waiting for a common language. Next time you're out in nature and hear a sound you can't explain, maybe don't follow it. You might not like where you end up. Wait, what?